Hello.
Hello.
Ooh, hello. Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to the third place game, battle for third place here at the MRDA Championships. My name is Ms. Communication.
I'm Bulldog.
And we are getting ready to watch the St. Louis Gatekeepers take on the Maelstrom roller derby. Fantastic times here in Sioux City.
Yeah, that's right. We've seen some hard-hitting derby. We saw you if you were watching that last game. That was the Puget Sound Outcasts against Portland's Bridgetown Menace, and it came down to the very last jam. And the game before that, that New York Shock Exchange defeated the St. Louis Gatekeepers in the last jam. And now that meant that the St. Louis Gatekeepers are playing now for third place against Maelstrom, who lost to your mom earlier this morning. But that's all prelude to the championship that comes after this. That's going to be your mom against New York Shock Exchange. But right now, St. Louis Gatekeepers fielding Magnum PIMP as jammer in the first jam. Number L7, he's facing off against number 2, Conlin, for Maelstrom. Maelstrom in the white. St. Louis Gatekeepers in the black with green lettering. Magnum PIMP is lead jammer, hitting the pack on his first scoring pass. A mass of Maelstrom blockers at the rear of the pack. Mars Travolta forces Magnum PIMP all the way across the track, but he does get through, gets all 4 points. But Mars Travolta with a powerful block there. But it gets called off 4-0 St. Louis.
That's right, 29 minutes left in the first half. And definitely we are going to see a lot of hard hits. Both Maelstrom and the Gatekeepers play incredibly tough defensive plays against each other. Debaucherous Prime on that Ringster jam line. And who's he jamming against, Bulldog?
Hey, he's jamming against number 1993, Jurassic Park. And that was a leap across the infield by Debaucherous Prime, but caught at the front by, I believe that was Banar, number 80, but he managed to pick himself back up. He landed inside, was not at risk for a cut, and was able to get lead jammer for St. Louis. Jurassic Park completing his initial pass, but right now, Debaucherous Prime around the outside, gets caught at the front by Hasselman, who clips him with a hip check, but he calls off. That was almost the same circumstances as the first jam, just getting caught right at the end, calling it off from a pile on the floor. But once again, 4-0 in that jam.
That's right. Prime leaving the track, kind of holding on to his face. Looks like perhaps some tooth hit lip, and he's going to get that checked out with the EMTs.
But he was smiling through that whole jam. Or possibly he has just a face guard that forces his face into a rictus or something. But I just did not see him stop smiling for most of that jam. Shane Bauer, number 32, jamming against number 8, Byron. Number 32, Shane Bauer for St. Louis in the black. Number 8, Byron for Maelstrom in the white. Byron driven out of bounds. Has to come back out. Percy control, number 82 for St. Louis. At the rear of the pack, but Byron able to slip past him, gets around Inquadable Hulk, number 5150 for St. Louis, and out of the pack. But Shane Bauer already has lead jammer, and around the outside, quick move, calls off the jam, and instant replay, 4-0.
Gatekeepers losing double XL for a clockwise block in that jam. So we're going to see a 4-on-3 pack advantage. Maelstrom. Oh, it's Batwing on the line. I heard something interesting, Bulldog. Batwing wanted to dedicate this game to Ada Roller, who's one of our favorite women's derby players in Missouri.
And Calentro, the jammer for Maelstrom. Calentro drives right into a 4-wall. Zombie Jesus, number 0 on the inside for St. Louis. And Calentro getting sent to the penalty box for cutting the track. And that means that is Batwing going to the penalty box right ahead of him. So it's going to be 2 short penalties, a swap out. Batwing comes back in, and immediately Calentro stands up and is released. So only about 4 seconds for each jammer. But they do get 1 ding on the trip to expulsion. However, both jammers back in the mix. Batwing fighting, surrounded by Maelstrom. blockers. He comes back in, but doesn't get. It looked like he was expecting a cutting the track look behind him, but no call was forthcoming, and Hasselman was trying to rally his teammates to come back. They were trying to draw him back, trying to draw Batwing back further, thinking that they had drawn the cut, but no, the advantage went to St. Louis in that one. In the chaos, Colentro still trying to get past the St. Louis defense. Nat King Kill and Bled Zeppelin in the front. Bled Zeppelin gets a penalty. He saw Colentro step out of bounds, but gets a penalty, and that means that Colentro was free to go. So now both jammers on identical scoring passes. Double XL makes first contact on Colentro, but he drives around. Double XL manages to stay in front. Nat King Kill backing him up. Batwing still making another run. Dodges right between Benar and Hasselman. Gets caught up by Pickering, but manages to get through. Gets 4 points for St. Louis. Colentro trying to match those points, but Double XL double teamed along with Nat King Kill. Although Double XL looks like he could double team someone all by himself. But Colentro driven out of bounds and drawn to the top of turn 2 by Nat King Kill. Batwing on another scoring pass gets knocked out of bounds, but time runs out. And that was 12 points at the start of that jam. So now 20 points showing for St. Louis. 8-point jam for Batwing, and 3 points picked up by Colentro.
It's impressive to me. We actually went almost a minute and 40 seconds with very few passes. Only one pass completed for Mass Maelstrom. Score now 20-3, and we've got 24 minutes left in the half. Jamming for Mass Maelstrom, we've got Conlon, and he's out in front, lead jammer, Bulldog.
And number L7 for St. Louis, that's Magnum PIMP. St. Louis in the black, Mass Maelstrom in the white. Because Conlon knocked out of bounds by number 82, Percy Control of St. Louis, but Percy Control going to the penalty box. Conlon comes back in clean, calls off the jam, gets through, looks like 3 points, but 2 points matched by Magnum PIMP. So a 3-2 jam. Mass Maelstrom winning by 1 in that jam.
Percy Control headed to the penalty box on an out of play, and he certainly did not agree with that one, shaking his head no all the way to the box. Score now with 23 minutes left in the half, 22-6, Gatekeepers on top.
Number 32, Shane Bauer jamming for St. Louis against number 1993, Jurassic Park for Mass Maelstrom, who fights off Wrecking Bill at the front of the pack and gets out for lead jammer. Shane Bauer out of the pack as well, completing his initial pass. So both jammers making their way around, but Jurassic Park hits the pack first on his first scoring pass, runs into Nat King Kill and Bled Zeppelin. Shane Bauer gets all 4 points, but only 3 points for Jurassic Park. So a +1 differential for St. Louis Gatekeepers, even though Shane Bauer was coming from behind.
Well, I do hear that Bauer, that Shane can go. Yeah, Shane go. If you're wanting to say something to us, please tweet us at Talk2MRDA. We would love to talk to you while this game is in action.
Number 8, Byron jamming for Mass Maelstrom, and number 66, Screech Around, knocked down by Coulter of Mass Maelstrom, and now locked up by Gaudet, but dodges around him and gets through. Screech Around is now lead jammer, but Byron gets out of the pack as well, but about a half a lap behind Screech Around of St. Louis. Screech Around hits the pack for his first scoring pass, knocks down Coulter on his way past, gets through the pack, calls it off, and 4 more points for St. Louis. Donut for Mass Maelstrom.
All these teams here at the MRDA Championships have been going hard. We're actually up the hallway from the team locker rooms, and man, whew, it's great smelling down that hallway. Notorious RED gear deodorant. You can smell clean even if you play dirty. Hopefully they'll listen to this footage and recap and remember that for a sweeter smelling hallway next time. Bulldog?
I have something to say about that, but I'm not going to say it on mic. We got number L7 Magnum PIMP jamming for St. Louis. He is out first for lead jammer. Conlon, number 2, gets sideswiped by the Saint, number 1 of St. Louis. Now one-on-one with the Saint, 1-on-2. Number 2, Conlon, gets out of the pack, completing his initial pass, and there goes Magnum PIMP through the back, looking around, looking to see where Conlon is, and calling off the jam. 4 more points for St. Louis.
34-9. We've got 20 minutes left in the half. And Bulldog, I feel as if this game is going a lot faster than it actually is. 10 minutes have expired. And I don't know. I'm just kind of like, whoa, yeah, we're watching this. We're watching this here on WFTDA TV. They have hosted us all weekend so that you can watch the MRDA Championships for the free.
Yeah, it is a meat grinder in the pack right now. Number 68, Batwing, squeezing right past Coulter, almost getting knocked to the ground, but manages to stay up. Gaudette jamming for the first time in this game, gets around Wrecking Bill, caught at the front by High Pains Drifter, number 13 for St. Louis, but Gaudette able to get out, but not before Batwing hits the back on his first scoring pass for St. Louis. A battering ram of a shoulder from Coulter knocks down Batwing. It calls off the jam from the floor. 2 more points for St. Louis, and Gaudette not going to get around in time. No points for Maelstrom.
That score for St. Louis, 36-9, reflective of the lead jammer percentages. Gatekeepers have held lead jammer status 6 times. The Maelstrom only 2. Bulldog.
Number 11, Debaucherous Prime, lining up for St. Louis. They have all 4 blockers on the track. Calentro, number 109 for Maelstrom, is jamming, but with one of his blockers in the penalty box. At number 32, Pickering. So a slight back advantage for St. Louis, and Debaucherous Prime gives a little wink and a little. That was a sound effect, but he was actually, I think it was a little pistol shot. Boo, boo. And gets through the pack now. He is lead jammer, of course, and gets 4 points.
Nope, 5 points right there. That jammer lap point added because we've got Calentro in the box for a cut track.
That's right. The referee adjusted and stuck out that thumb as soon as she saw Calentro of Maelstrom sitting in the box. So now down a blocker and a jammer. Maelstrom trying to hold back Debaucherous Prime, and they managed to draw him all the way back to turn 1. Now making another attempt at scoring pass number 2. Gets around Collerin, and Bernard unable to stop him. Hasselman can't make contact, and Debaucherous Prime completes a second grand slam. 10 points so far for St. Louis.
Great job by the Gatekeepers defense in this pass, and also the last one, kind of swooping around their jammer and bringing him through the pack, keeping him from being touched at all. Bulldog.
Yeah, nice work by the St. Louis pack. Now, that was a little bit unsteady on his wheels for a moment there. Debaucherous Prime trying not to fall back into a track cut, a technical cut, but now knocked out of bounds again this time by Pickering, number 32 for Maelstrom. And Debaucherous Prime trying to decide, looks at his team benches. Team benches, no, don't call it off. Calentro now at the front of the pack, gets around the Saint and completes his initial pass. That's it, and that is key. That's why you look at your bench, because he was just starting that scoring pass. And if he had called it off, he might have given up the 4 points that he just got. So, so that was a good training, good reflexes to always check with your bench.
14-point jam for Prime puts St. Louis up 53-9. 17 minutes left in the first half of this battle for 3rd place.
And now the notorious RED penalty box is empty. We've got Jurassic Park jamming for Maelstrom against number 32, Shane Bauer for St. Louis in the black. Jurassic Park getting out of the pack for Maelstrom in the white. He is lead jammer. Shane Bauer, though, just avoiding a shoulder check from Coulter, number 5150 of Maelstrom, and gets out of the pack as well. But Jurassic Park starts on a scoring pass. Oh, Shane Bauer nowhere near getting. He tried to leap across the infield, but I mean, I was looking at that. It didn't look like he even had enough of a push, and then he got stomped on by Coulter, and so that was going nowhere.
53-9 right now. The folks at Ringster make my unofficial scribblings official. They are not only the sponsors of our jam line, but also the MVP Trophies sponsor. They provided belt buckles for championship weekend's MVPs. That's Ringster, once again, making my scribblings official, one game at a time.
Those belt buckles are going to make all of the other skaters jealous. They're absolutely fabulous, and I mean, or really manly, if you're in Texas. But
and out in front, Burnt Reynolds, Byron, as a lead jammer for Mass Maelstrom. We've got Magnum PIMP also out there, ready to score points for the Gatekeepers.
And a no pass, no penalty means that Magnum PIMP is going nowhere. Jam gets called off by Byron for 3 points for Mass Maelstrom.
Right now, Mass Maelstrom with 2 blockers in the box. That last jam, Mycopathic Chiller and Benner head out for a high block and a multiple player block, respectively. So right now, Maelstrom with 2 people in the pack. Gatekeepers at full strength. And we've got Batwing and Conlon jamming against each other on that Ringster jam line.
Number 68, Batwing, quickly moving up to the front. Gaudet and Coulter holding the line for Mass Maelstrom. But Gaudet going to the penalty box. That's going to leave only Coulter, and he can't hold back. He can't hold back. Batwing, number 68. Number 2, Conlon jamming for Mass Maelstrom, still at the back of the pack. All 4 St. Louis blockers surrounding him right now. Wrecking Bill moving forward to try and help out his jammer, get around Coulter, but Coulter makes the hit. Batwing hits the deck and calls off the jam.
He does pick up a 5-point pass. St. Louis now at 58, Mass Maelstrom at 12. We are halfway through the first half.
Mass Maelstrom with 2 blockers in the notorious RED penalty box. And right now lining up on the Ringster jammer line, Jurassic Park for Mass Maelstrom in the white, and Debaucherous Prime, number 11, for St. Louis in the black. But Jurassic Park, a quick move up the inside, gets him around Double XL, number 314. And then Double XL doing double time, helping out Debaucherous Prime, I should say. Debaucherous Prime helping himself out with Double XL's shirt. But Jurassic Park into the pack on a scoring pass, knocks down, or maybe Double XL stumbled. Hard to tell, but they made contact and Double XL went down. 3 points, though, for Jurassic Park of Mass Maelstrom. And Debaucherous Prime coming up empty.
Inquadible Hulk and Jack Hammered sent to the penalty box there at the end of the jam. Mass Maelstrom looking like their notorious RED troubles have not been fixed just yet. Super full penalty box, as many blockers as you can have in the box right now. With number 40, Mycopathic Chiller standing.
And Inquadible Hulk and Coulter both have the same number. Coulter, also known as Jack Hammered, but right now on his jersey it says Coulter. In case you're looking at on your video screens, if you can read the names, you'll see Coulter. That is Jack Hammered, number 5150. And some T-shirts going out to the crowd, a very enthusiastic crowd out here in Sioux City, Iowa. This is the 3rd place bout. St. Louis Gatekeepers fighting against Mass Maelstrom.
Jurassic Park has been a lead jammer 3 of the 4 jams that he has jammed, and also is responsible for all but 3. Oh, I'm sorry, all of 6 of the points that are up on the Mass Maelstrom's board right now. Jurassic Park, of course, jamming this entire weekend and doing it splendidly well. Bulldog.
Number 109, Calentro jamming for Mass Maelstrom against Magnum PIMP, number L7 for St. Louis in the black. And Mass Maelstrom actually starting out with only 1 blocker on the track. That was... Here comes Magnum PIMP getting around Mars Travolta. Mars Travolta started out all by himself. but Mycopathic Chiller was standing up and is now double. Now they have 2 blockers on the track, but Magnum PIMP making short work of that first scoring pass, and now just out accelerates Mycopathic Chiller to complete his second scoring pass. 10 points so far for St. Louis. Colentro knocked down at the front of the pack for Mass Maelstrom, knocked down by Zombie Jesus and Bled Zeppelin. Nat King Kill backing them up, or fronting them up as the case may be. But Colentro managing to complete his initial pass finally. Magnum PIMP coming in for another strafing run through the pack. Gets knocked to the infield by Mars Travolta. Calls off the jam. No points for Mass Maelstrom.
And 3 additional points for Magnum. 18-point jam for Magnum PIMP brings the score 73-15 with 12 minutes left in this first half. I am pretty sure, Bulldog, with just eking it by 12 points over Puget Sound and then just losing barely to the Shock Exchange by 12 points, the Gatekeepers are kind of out for a little vengeance here in this third place game.
Absolutely. They were seeded number 2 coming in there just behind your mom, and now they're fighting for third place, so they have a little something to prove. But Byron knocked out of bounds, has to come way back all the way through the pivot line, or that's actually not the pivot line, that's just a random line in the middle of the track, but it's near the pivot line. But Byron now shakes off the Saint to get out of the pack. Claims lead jammer, calls off the jam. Shane Bauer not picking up any additional points on that scoring pass.
I love that we referred to a random line on the track. That's actually a basketball court, Bulldog.
I don't know.
They set up 2 basketball courts. Yeah, I know. You're just like, oh, those are just a bunch of random lines sitting on a track. Obviously, they're just in the way of our derby track.
It's a random, not derby lines.
That's right. That last jam by Byron brings the score now 76-15. 11 minutes left in this first half. We've got a team timeout called for the Mass Maelstrom. Do you want to relive this whole weekend? Yes, you do. I'll just answer the question for you. And here's how you can do it. We are offering DVDs. It's $10 for a single bout, $25 to purchase a whole team's bout. But really the price that you want to pay here is $50. That's the entire championships, all of the games. So that is clearly the best deal when you are shopping with mindfulness on your derby budget. Contact info@cornstalkers.com to purchase those DVDs today.
And only one skater sitting in the notorious RED penalty box. That's Zombie Jesus, number 08D. All by himself for St. Louis. So a 4-on-3 pack advantage for Mass Maelstrom in the white. St. Louis fielding Screech around number 66 to face off against Jurassic Park, number 1993 for Mass Maelstrom, but Jurassic Park going one-on-one against Bled Zeppelin, but finally fights him off and once again gets lead jammer for Mass Maelstrom. So far in this game, the most effective jammer for Mass Maelstrom. And now just slips through the pack, gets around Nat King Kill. Wrecking Bill tried to get him at the end, but Jurassic Park gets all 4, calls off the jam, and Screech around comes up empty.
Score now 76-19. Sorry, I'm reading scribblings. It's not working very well. I'm sounding out the words in my head so that you don't have to listen to me. The entire game, actually, the Massachusetts Maelstrom have not scored more than 4 points in a jam, if they have scored at all. Debaucherous Prime out there, lead jammer for the Gatekeepers. He is skating against number 2, Conlin.
And Conlin muscled to the ground by a combined effort of Bled Zeppelin and Percy Control of St. Louis. Yeah, but Debaucherous Prime drawn all the way back to turn 2, comes back in fighting. Now Colleran in front of him, holding him off, forcing him almost out of bounds, but he manages just on his tippy toes to stay in bounds. Or I think technically toe stops. You can't really see the tippy toes. But Percy Control taking down Conlin once again. Conlin struggling at the back of the pack. Debaucherous Prime getting through, completing his pass for a grand slam. The Saint almost stops Conlon in his tracks, but Conlon finally managing to get out of the pack, completes his initial pass. But here comes Debaucherous Prime through the pack a second time. Or possibly a third time. Actually, I may have lost track. There was a lot of action with the Mass Maelstrom jammer Conlon. But that was either a 9-point jam or a 14-point jam on the part of St. Louis.
Debaucherous Prime picking up 9 points on that jam. Thank you for the confirmation. And really, now we've got an empty penalty box, and hopefully it'll stay that way into this jam, Bulldog.
That's right, and thank you to Wilhelm Scream. Yeah! And that is Batwing jamming for St. Louis in the black. He gets out first for lead jammer. Way at the back, we have Byron jamming, number 8 for Mass Maelstrom in the white. He's held back there by Nat King Kill. Gets around him, but he's a full lap. Keep in mind, behind Batwing. Batwing is on his first scoring pass, and Byron now just completing his initial pass. Batwing, though, facing a challenge, but excellent work by the St. Louis Gatekeepers blockers. High Pains Drifter and Bled Zeppelin were just completely walled off 2 of the Mass Maelstrom blockers, opening up a wide outside lane, and that was I think that was 4 more points for St. Louis Gatekeepers on the second scoring pass.
Yeah, Bulldog, I think that Batwing has picked the correct game to dedicate to Add-A-Roller. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I believe that was actually 1 scoring pass, 4 points for St. Louis.
For St. Louis.
Thank you.
Yes.
Magnum PIMP, number L7, jamming for St. Louis. Going against Colentro, number 109 for Mass Maelstrom. 3-wall at the front. It looked like no big deal was going to try and break it up, but actually managed to catch a goat. The Saint, number 1, was trapped behind the Mass Maelstrom blockers, so that was a free pass for Colentro. Now Magnum PIMP in the penalty box as jammer for St. Louis, so power jam for Colentro. Now on a scoring pass, below Double XL comes in with a shoulder, but doesn't get Colentro out of bounds, and Colentro just counter checks the Saint, knocks him down, and now power is out of the pack, gets a grand slam. I believe the first grand slam of the day for Mass Maelstrom. That might be that is the first grand slam. It got the thumbs up. And Colentro now on his second scoring pass, possibly already the highest scoring pass, the highest scoring jam for Mass Maelstrom. But Colentro getting triple teamed right now. The Saint, Zombie Jesus, and Inquadable Hulk all triple teaming him. Now the Saint dropping back to bridge. Now it's Zombie Jesus and Inquadable Hulk. They managed to get Colentro out of bounds, and he has to recycle back to turn 4. No big deal moving in to try and help out his jammer get through that wall. But Colentro now once again, instant replay, gets muscled out of bounds, has to recycle, and Magnum PIMP for St. Louis gets out of the pack, out of the penalty box and through the pack almost effortlessly. But now comes around and looking to match some of those points. Colentro still on his second scoring pass. Magnum PIMP on his first scoring pass. And just a buzz of action, just a blur of action. Magnum PIMP, though, shakes off 3 defenders and completes his first scoring pass. I believe that was 5. Yes, 5 points there. Colentro knocked out of bounds again. And now Magnum PIMP completing a second scoring pass as time runs out. Only 4 points on the second scoring pass, though. 4 points for Colentro, so I think we have a 9-9 tie in this jam.
Correct. That is a 9-9 tie for both jammers in that jam. Currently, Colentro holding the high-scoring jam for Mass Maelstrom. 28-98 now, with about 5 minutes rounding the corner to halftime. Hey, Kendall Hand, you asked us a great question on Talk to MRDA. When I get a chance to have some time to explain it to you, I certainly shall. But back to the action with Bulldog.
Jurassic Park back in the jammer cover for Mass Maelstrom. And Shane Bauer, number 32, jamming for St. Louis, already lead jammer. St. Louis in the black. Now Shane Bauer hits the pack on his first scoring pass, quickly into the back and through. Gets around. Benar was the last line of defense. And Jurassic Park deep into the pack, but doesn't get any points. It got called off too quickly. Jurassic Park coming up empty.
4 points from Shane Bauer. Throws the Gatekeepers over the century mark, 102-28. And we've got just over 4 minutes left in this first half.
Debaucherous Prime, number 11, lined up to jam on the Ringster jam line against Gaudette, number 1337. And coming in from the penalty box, Colleran comes in, but Debaucherous Prime was moving backwards when Colleran made contact, and it was incidental contact. So the crowd said, oh, you know, they made a loud cry of outrage. But in fact, Debaucherous Prime was moving backwards, and the Colleran just came in naturally. It was a natural skating step, so there was no penalty on that play because the only one affected was the one who was skating the wrong way. But now we've got Gaudette out front, but not the lead jammer. Debaucherous Prime did manage to get lead jammer and now gets a cutting the track. It's going to be a power jam for Mass Maelstrom. Gaudette already has 4 points now from that first scoring pass. Now moving in on his second scoring pass. Percy Control makes first contact. Double XL guarding the center, and on the inside it's the Saint, number 1. The Saint drops back to Bridge. Percy Control for St. Louis can't contain Gaudette, and he gets through for another 5. That is 9 points so far. Comes around for a third scoring pass. 3-wall in the front. Bled Zeppelin drops back to Bridge, but comes in with a shoulder check, knocking Gaudette down, and Double XL follows that up and forces Gaudette out of bounds. He has to recycle back to turn 4. Comes back in behind his teammates. That's Mars Travolta trying to break up that wall, but St. Louis holding it together very well. Bled Zeppelin is bridging, and now Percy Control bridging. Double XL just comes in and hammers Gaudette down to the ground. Gaudette somehow manages not to cross the line, though, and is still in bounds. The Saint one-on-one drives him out of bounds. And that ends the power jam. Debaucherous Prime released from the penalty box. So now both jammers on the track. Gaudette still on his third scoring pass and still finding an impenetrable 4-wall of St. Louis blockers. He does manage to get all 4 of the points, though. Doesn't get all 5 of the points. He was eligible for a 5th, but only gets 4. So that was a 4, a 5, and a 4. That's 13 points.
That's right, 13 points for Gaudette, and we actually haven't seen him jamming very much all weekend. This has been the first game where he's been in heavy jammer rotation. The real news here, though, is that the Gatekeepers able to shut down these power jams for themselves, not letting those jammers go without a good battering. Bulldog.
Number 66, Screech around jamming for St. Louis in the black, and he fights off Coulter and Pickering to get out. Gets lead jammer. Byron, number 8, gets around High Pains Drifter, number 13 for St. Louis, and completes his initial pass. Here's Screech around, getting into the pack, gets around Pickering, gets around the rear guard of Mass Maelstrom. Going to settle for 2 points, calls off the jam, but there is Byron picking up 1, stealing 1 off the back of the pack just in time.
Well, you got to watch those tricky jammers speeding into the pack. They'll skim the cream off the top before you even know they've stolen the milk. Right now, our clock is saying that it's 50 seconds left in this first period. That means that this may, in fact, be our last jam of the half.
Number 2, Conlin jamming against the Magnum PIMP, number L7 of St. Louis. And Conlin gets lead jammer, immediately calls off the jam, and looks like Magnum PIMP calling for a reset. He's going to stay in as jammer. And, well, Shane Bauer had a little bit, it was a mild complaint about that, but there was smiles all around. So Magnum PIA staying in as jammer. Jurassic Park coming in for Mass Maelstrom.
Of course, score remains unchanged. Mass Maelstrom at 43, St. Louis at 107. Barely seconds left on the clock, and they are definitely going to be skating their last jam. And Magnum PIMP, your lead jammer.
Yes, indeed. Jurassic Park facing a gauntlet. Zombie Jesus and Nat King Kill double teaming him, but Wrecking Bill dropping back to Bridge. And now that Jurassic Park gets a free pass, but not before Magnum PIMP gets all the way through. Time runs out on the period clock, and Magnum PIMP putting 4 points on the board as the period ends.
All right, heading into halftime now. We've got a score of 111-43. Definitely the Gatekeepers out to prove something after that heartbreaking 12-point loss to the New York Stock Exchange. Maelstrom just really excited to be playing this game right now. You know, I wanted to address a question that we had off of the Talk to MRDA feed really quickly because I think it's a good one. It's especially a good one to know since we've had a pretty penalty-heavy weekend. From Kendall Hand, he asked, how can a team only have one blocker on the track? And Kendall, that actually happens when you have a full penalty box with 2 blockers, and when the second blocker stands up, there's a 10-second window there, because if someone is standing up in the penalty box, they've got 10 seconds left on their penalty, and that also means that the third blocker can then come in and sit down in the box. So you've got 3 blockers in the box. It only happens for 10 seconds, which is good, because I would really hate, as someone who's done penalty box timing, to have to multitask longer than 10 minutes.
That's right. The rule is no more than 2 blockers from a single team can be sitting in the penalty box.
Exactly. So that would be how you would end up, one of the situations how you would end up with 1 blocker on the track. Anyway, we're going to head into halftime here. Third place game between the Gatekeepers and the Maelstrom. Come back and join us in 15 minutes. We'll be back with the second half.
Sin City Skates began in our Las Vegas living room in 2005, the first shop ever dedicated to roller derby, and has since grown into this 2,000 square foot mecca in San Diego, where we stock everything for our sport. Need help? With a combined on-track experience of over 24 years and still playing, we test everything we sell, and we're happy to share that experience and knowledge with you. So contact us, sincityskates.com.
They told us to just sell skates online. You won't have any overhead. Put some skulls in your advertising. You'll make a mint. That was never our plan. Our plan was to make a store where all day we are fitting skaters, fixing skates, teaching customers, and putting the best gear on their bodies. Before we put 3 W's in front of our name, we made sure we had hundreds of happy customers come through our doors. We're not just Derby owned. We're Derby dedicated. Fast Girl Skates.
My name is the Doc, and this is the Texas Roll-'em.
That goes to you. We're here in the helmet laboratories today testing some helmets. We're testing soft foam helmets versus hard foam helmets. We have the Lifer hard foam CPSC certified on the head form now. We're going to drop it from the drop tower, and we're going to measure the G-force of the impact. We're going to take this helmet up 2 meters for its drop. In order to pass this test, this helmet must reduce the energy pulse to under 300 Gs. We hit 186.75 Gs. That's a pass. We've got a soft foam helmet on the head form now. We're going to bring it up to the same distance we did the hard foam helmet and see what happens. As you can see, the soft foam helmet that was dropped from the same distance as the hard foam helmet registered an 827 peak G. The hard foam helmet registered a 186. 300 Gs passes the CPSC certified test. This helmet fails.
And we are back. Second half of the third place game at the MRDA Championships here in finally sunny Sioux City, Iowa. My name is Ms. Communication.
I'm Bulldog.
And we saw an interesting first half, 111-43, St. Louis Gatekeepers on top. Right now, Gatekeepers looking to slide at least one place, if not two, from second coming in. And the Mass Maelstrom looking to improve their place by at least one here in this game as they came in fifth. A few statistics from the first half of the game. High-scoring jam for St. Louis was Debaucherous Prime with a 19-point jam. High scorer for Mass Maelstrom in the last half was Gaudette with a 13-point jam. We haven't seen very many jammer penalties, only 3 for St. Louis and 2 for Mass Maelstrom. But really the story here is that St. Louis holding 14 of the 25 lead jams as opposed to 8 for Massachusetts, and that's why we're seeing a deficit in that score. We're getting ready here. All the guys crouched down on the track around that Ringster jam line.
That's right, and very few penalties for both teams. I believe the count is 12 total penalties for both teams, and only one skater has 3 penalties. Has up to 3 penalties. It's Colleran for Mass Maelstrom. He's the penalty leader with only 3. That is remarkable. He's the only one with 3. Jurassic Park and Shane Bauer, both the jammer Shane Bauer for St. Louis and Jurassic Park for Mass Maelstrom. They get through the pack and it gets called off immediately 30 seconds into the second half.
Score now 111-43, and only a 30-second jam there for both of those teams. Wicked Skatewear. You can find them at wickedskatewear.com, sponsor of the MRDA Championships. They do custom uniforms, custom T-shirts, custom anything. Check them out online.
Magnum PIMP, number L7 for St. Louis in the black, gets lead jammer. And for Mass Maelstrom, it is number 8, Byron, in the white. Gets around Percy Control, number 82 for St. Louis, and completes his initial pass. But Magnum PIMP making short work of the pack. Gets through, calls it off, 4 points St. Louis.
Remember, folks, all the action is at Turn 2 Skate Shop. You can find them online at turn2skateshop.com. No action right now for the notorious RED penalty box, so I guess it smells good right now in the penalty box.
An empty penalty box, a full Ringster jammer line. Debaucherous Prime, number 11, straight up the center and gets away from the pack. He's lead jammer. Call Entro, number 109 for Mass Maelstrom, driven out of bounds, has to recycle to the top of turn 2. Now in a defensive crouch, but Debaucherous Prime moves to the inside. Hits Benar, almost gets past, but Benar manages to squeeze him out of bounds, forcing him to recycle. Of course, he is a full lap ahead of the Mass Maelstrom jammer, Call Lentro, at the back of the pack, facing a 3-wall. Bled Zeppelin forcing him to the infield. But Coulter giving the same treatment to Magnum PIMP, but Bled Zeppelin managing to nudge Coulter out of bounds, and that releases Debaucherous Prime to come back in clean. But Coulter once again gets back in front of him. He's helped out by his 3 teammates. It's Gaudette, Benar, and number 7 Hasselman for Mass Maelstrom. Gaudette thought he got Debaucherous Prime out of bounds, but comes in, helps out his jammer, and Colentro finally completing his initial pass. But Debaucherous Prime, of course, was on a scoring pass, calls off the jam, and 3 additional points for St. Louis.
Crazy jam, that last jam. We almost went the full 2 minutes of that jam. St. Louis now at 115. Massachusetts still holding steady at 43.
And 1 blocker each in the notorious RED penalty box. Number 66, Screech around jamming for St. Louis against number 2, Conlin jamming for Mass Maelstrom. Mass Maelstrom in the white, St. Louis in the black. Screech around at the front of the pack, held off by by deep insider number 775, driven to the back of the pack. Some shoulder checks from Mars Travolta, crossed by the actual Pickering, number 32, and that is lead jammer Conlin for Mass Maelstrom in the white, coming around, hits the pack on his first scoring pass. makes contact at the back of the pack. This is the Saint number 1 and Percy Control number 82, the 2 wall, holding back, holding on to Conlon. He finally calls it off in time. Screech around, not coming around in time. So it's going to be points for Mass Maelstrom, unanswered by St. Louis this time.
That's right. 4 points for Mass Maelstrom puts them up to 47 to St. Louis's 118. And Conlon breaking a 3-jam lead jammer streak. Mass Maelstrom now fielding Jurassic Park, one of their more effective jammers from the first half. Pack advantage right now, 3-2. Gatekeepers with Nat King, Kill, and Inquadable Hulk in the box, cooling their heels. And Gaudette joining him as well in that notorious RAD box.
So a 3-on-2 pack advantage for Mass Maelstrom, and Bled Zeppelin can't stop Jurassic Park for Mass Maelstrom getting sent to the penalty box. Looks like Benar going to the penalty box as well, but Gaudette was released, so still it remains a 3-on-2 pack advantage for Mass Maelstrom. But Batwing not able to get around. Still no points for St. Louis, but no points for Mass Maelstrom either.
Bled Zeppelin sent in that last jam to the notorious RAD penalty box for an out-of-play penalty. He's changing it up a little bit. The last game he played against the Stock Exchange, it was all counterclockwise blocks. And this time it looks like he has been chasing too many people around the track. Magnum PIMP with a attempted soul crush right now on Byron.
Comes back in. Coulter was there, but Bled Zeppelin, Double XL able to get in front. So he's drawn back in. And so that means that both jammers still have yet to complete their initial pass. We're going to be eyeballing the referees because there was one incident earlier where there was some question about whether they completed their initial pass or not, but won't go into that now, obviously. But Coulter on the ground. It looks like we have our medics coming over to take a look at him, but
so we are checking out the official whiteboard out there on the track. Not too many penalties actually for either team. We've only got one person sitting on 3 penalties right now, and that's kind of the out in front lead. Our incredible NSO staff keeping track of everything. You know, you count everything up and verify it when you have a delay of game. We've, Bulldog, we've seen a lot of hard-hitting action here this weekend, and when you're a skater that has to play so many games all at once in a weekend, and you kind of start getting desperate and diving for it, it's kind of hard to not just sort of go for the kill and hope for the best. And so I think the last day of tournaments is when I usually see a few more injuries anyway at the ones I've been at.
And Coulter, number 5150, he's a skater that's being looked to by the medics right now. He's been such a powerhouse for Mass Maelstrom, one of the strongest blockers on the team. So this could be a real morale killer if he isn't able to return. But right now he's being seen to by our medical staff.
Just so you know, those of you that are his friends, fans, and family from home and around the world, we will make sure to follow up. If we do not see him after his 3-jam sit-out, I'll make sure that I send a minion down to get some news for you, because I know it's especially hard when you're watching from home and you don't have any way to get information. We will do our best, but hopefully we'll just see him back up and in again after 3 jams.
Well, he is sitting up, and they're putting his helmet back on his head. I consider that a good sign. They're not taking his skates off. He's assisted up, and it looks like he took off his left skate. So he is being assisted. He's on 1 skate. So that's a bad sign, but we'll see.
And as we said to you, our folks out in the audience, we will make sure to get you an update to the best of our ability here if we don't see him pop back in after 3 jams. And, if you want to wish him well, feel free to tweet your well wishes to him at Talk2MRDA. I'm sure that he'd love to hear your well wishes in the moment. I'm sure he'll be going back and reading. I've been sitting with a lot of skaters going back and reading both of the tweets to the MRDA Champs 2013 hashtag and also to Talk to MRDA. They sit there and read through and they're like, I bet this was during that jam or that jam. So if you are one of his homies or a Massachusetts fan, if you want to go ahead and tweet those well wishes, I'm sure that he will love to read them when he is on his smartphone later. We are back on the track. We've still got the official timeout signal from our jam timer. There we go. And we are going to be back in play here very shortly.
And it looks like the same lineup in the notorious RED penalty box. So 3-on-2 pack advantage still for Mass Maelstrom in the white Calentro. Number 109 jamming for Mass Maelstrom against the number 11 Debaucherous Prime in the black for St. Louis. And we've got another soul crush, another move to crush the soul and the morale of Mass Maelstrom. And there goes Debaucherous Prime making his run again. Now, of course, he is still on his initial pass, but Calentro driven all the way a full lap behind. Therefore, he has to get through the pack, and then he will begin his initial pass now. Debaucherous Prime now on his initial pass through the pack, but he's a full lap ahead of Calentro. Debaucherous Prime facing all 4 of the Mass Maelstrom blockers now. That was Banar was able to get through. Now that was Calentro completing his pre-initial pass. And Debaucherous Prime did not complete his initial pass, gets a cutting the track, so it's a power jam now. And here's Calentro on his initial pass, his official initial pass. Percy Control number 82 bumps him out of bounds that was a booty bump. And draws him back to the top of turn 2. Still on his initial pass though. Some very strong but very long bridging by St. Louis. Calentro stumbles coming up the center of the pack. Now Percy Control and Inquadable Hulk at the front of the pack. But they run out of room. They get too far separated. Bled Zeppelin's getting sent to the penalty box. He was bridging. Once that linchpin was gone, that meant a free pass for Calentro, but too little too late. They ran out of time in that jam.
Once again, folks, for those of you at home, the term soul crush refers to the ability of the jammer to knock the other jammer out of bounds, and they can actually skate the other way on the track, either forcing a cut or forcing the other team's jammer to be reabsorbed into the pack, and then they have one pass and then an initial pass. That can potentially create a 6-point jam. I'm not so sure it was very wise to do, though, with a full complement of Mass Maelstrom blockers out there to force the cut on you.
Jurassic Park now on the power jam, the jamming for Mass Maelstrom against 2 blockers from St. Louis. Nat King Kill, and Magnum PIMP, the only 2 blockers on the track for St. Louis. Well, it's not really a sausage. It's more of a random spread pattern from Mass Maelstrom. Do you have any adjectives for me?
Yes, I would call it a pretty Asian fan for them to hide behind and flutter their eyes at the gentleman.
Yes, I believe that.
Right, because if we call it sausage when the ladies are playing, we should probably call it something very feminine when the gentlemen are playing.
I'll have to think about that.
I don't know, bonbons? That's a pretty feminine thing.
I thought of something that rhymes with bonbons, but I'm not going to discuss it with you on air. But
meanwhile, with the star for Mass Maelstrom, we've got number 2, Conlon. Optimus Prime is still refreshing. Oh, no, actually out of the notorious RED penalty box and ready to score points.
He's completed his initial pass, but Conlon gets through the pack, calls off the jam, and 5 points for Mass Maelstrom.
You know, I don't know. I don't even, but of course I'm one of those people that doesn't really get why that's a sausage. When you make a line, I guess it looks kind of like a sausage. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's
bonbons dropped strategically past the track there. That would work.
The first time I heard sausage was in the UK. I think that's where it originated, and it was. I think they were primarily using it because of the limp quality of a sausage, or flat. It's flaccid, and that speaks to the impotence of. Never mind.
Well, I really don't know. It just makes me think a lot of my Minnesotan-born mother, who's the queen of passive-aggressive manipulation. So that's what I think of when I see that type of defense being used. Stephen Carter, Master Carter, just saw the T-shirt in the crowd. Skate where you live, LOL. Why not skate where you fit or are comfortable? Yes, quite the debate to be had with a men's derby these days.
Is that what it said? I saw that on the camera, and I thought it said state where you live. So I thought it was just one of those ironic T-shirts.
It could be state who you are and where you live. Shane Bauer out there with the lead jammer for Gatekeepers.
Skate where you live. That makes so much more sense.
It does.
And not ironic at all.
Unfortunately, I don't really have a roller rink where I live, so I guess I shouldn't go somewhere else and skate.
All right, Byron in a defensive posture against Shane Bauer, and Shane Bauer opting to call off the jam. He is going to get 5 points for St. Louis.
Score now 123-61, 19 minutes left in the period. There are a lot of ways that you can fall on that whole skate where you live debate. It's interesting to me, though, to see who gets in trouble for that and who does not. Because it's very unfairly, that the hatred is very unfairly applied amongst the different teams. There are several teams in the MRDA who have players that commute from other states far, far away from them, but only one particular team seems to get all the hatred from that.
I'm not familiar with this skate where you live debate. There's a whole controversy, so I'm going to have to say no comment on that. But Jurassic Park out racing Double XL, completing his initial pass, and we've got Screech around jamming for St. Louis. Picks up 4, calls off the jam, a familiar story. As we've seen so many times in this game, St. Louis effectively dominating, more than doubling Mass Maelstrom's score. They've actually done quite well just to score the 61 points that they have, though. St. Louis has just been such a tremendous defensive team so far, but also their jammers seem to just get through the pack more often than not with little or no effort. They just are so nimble, so agile, so fast. And there it is again, Magnum PIMP L7 jamming for St. Louis, gets through the pack. But more importantly, they've been controlling the Mass Maelstrom jammers. Now Conlon did get through the pack that time, but more often than not, they spend half of the jam just completing their initial pass. And except for a handful of jams, except for just 2 or 3 jams, I think. I believe, I'd like to get confirmation on that, but Mass Maelstrom has not even gotten more than 1 scoring pass.
That's right. We had 1 scoring pass, and it was 5 jams ago when Jurassic Park jammed previously to this last time. We wanted to go ahead and let you guys know that 5150 for the Mass Maelstrom Coulter is still on the bench being treated and or iced. That means we don't have a hospital trip for him, so you guys don't need to worry. It's just a little icing. He'll be okay.
Well, good news for Mass Maelstrom. Number 8, Byron, has gotten lead jammer, but bad news. Batwing was hot on his tail and forces the call off. Byron playing it safe, and so it's going to be a scoreless jam.
I think we've got some crowd folks asking for Wrecking Bill to jam. He usually shakes his head in dismay when that happens. Oh, yep. We've got chants of Wrecking Bill. Wrecking Bill. Maybe you can chant that to us here at Talks to MRDA.
Well, still just over half of the period remaining. 16 minutes, 37 seconds frozen on the clock as we enter an official timeout. And a dazzle of zebras consulting at the center of the track.
Indeed, they are quite dazzling. The ever-dazzling Double H just asked us a question on Talk to MRDA, and I'm just going to answer, yes, Double H. Yes, he did. Bonjour, sweetheart. Lauren, though, in Central Illinois, letting us know, I guess Ancient Dancy Pants is her handle on Twitter, says that sausage is frequently called the dandelion. Unnecessary, very bright, and hard to get rid of? I like dandelion. The dandelion. You don't really want it, and you're really sad when you see it? You spend all summer combating it? I think that works, Lauren. Thanks for sharing that. And of course, Danger, I love you. I love you so much. Hearts to you in St. Louis.
Number 1993 Jurassic Park jamming for Mass Maelstrom against number 11 Debaucherous Prime for St. Louis in the black. Around the outside and trailing right behind Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park screened off by Nat King Kill out of bounds. And Debaucherous Prime. Yeah, but the jam was called off clearly, but I didn't actually see which jammer was lead jammer to call it off.
Jurassic was lead jammer. I'm not sure why he called it off, because Prime had just broken the pack for the first time.
Well, that was Jurassic Park was also on his also just completed his initial pass, so that was probably the right thing to do, because he was going to get drawn back way around. He got knocked out of bounds.
Oh, correct. Sorry about that. I have a bad announcer memory sometimes.
I think we all do.
What happened 30 seconds ago? I don't know, but I know that Shane Bauer is lead jammer right now.
That was like 3 sentences ago. I can barely remember the last sentence I made.
You didn't even remember the word you said that made Double H all in a tizzy.
I could I could think of several words that would make a Double H go into a tizzy, but
Conlon putting on the pressure forces the call off. Shane Bauer, though, waiting until the absolute last second to call off the jam. I'm assuming Gatekeepers wanting to try and run a few seconds here and there off of the clock. You know, if you are tired of your skates running off of the track or everywhere in the parking lot, wherever you are going, a bruised skate noose. That's the over-the-shoulder roller skate holder. It's the one that allows you to display your brand name, awesomely trucked, sweet-wheeled skates, all on one convenient strap. A bruised skate noose, Bulldog.
That's right. Well, the crowd reacting to a Batwing getting battered at the rear of the pack by the Mass Maelstrom blockers. We've got number 615 Mars Travolta trying to hold Batwing in, but he manages to get out anyway. Batwing is now lead jammer. Conlon, number 2 for Mass Maelstrom, facing Wrecking Bill. He already got around Zombie Jesus, but Wrecking Bill slowed him down, and it gets called off by Batwing. 2 points for St. Louis, and no points for Conlon of Mass Maelstrom.
Derby America wants to chime in and let us know that Hasselman has been a killer blocker for Mass Maelstrom, but he would love to see him jam this bout. We will try our best, Derby America, to get the crowd to chant his name as well. I need a whiteboard up here, Bulldog, so that, so I can simultaneously be Team Heckle with the whiteboard and call all of the play-by-play action here on for the MRDA on WFTDA TV.
And Mass Maelstrom started out with 2 blockers in the notorious RED penalty box, but Hasselman comes out. That evens up the pack 3-on-3. Calentro looking over his shoulder to see where Magnum PIMP is, and the Magnum PIMP was into the back on a scoring pass, got driven out of bounds by Benar, number 80, but calls off the jam. 3 points St. Louis, no points Mass Maelstrom.
Score now 141-61, 13 minutes left in this second half. Double H lets us know thank you. You know that somewhere some MRDA skater just chose the name Lake Placid. Get it? That's funny because Lake Placid.
Yeah. Is that the word?
Yes, that was the word, my friend.
Because I could think of several other words that I didn't even think that. That's not even suggestive.
Screech around being sent to the penalty box for a cut track, and Jurassic Park calling off the jam. I guess to get some fresh feet out on the jam line, or maybe for Hasselman to come out on the jammer line. We'll have to see. No.
Oh, that's Byron.
Oh, we could just hope for it. I like to dream the impossible dream.
I think you just like his pink socks.
Well, yes, Jurassic Park does have fancy pink socks on. I've seen a lot of fanciness this weekend.
No, Hasselman has knee socks. He has pink knee socks.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, the other guys, they just have ankle socks. But Hasselman's goes the full knee. All right, but stuff's happening on the track. Byron, number 8, ramming that shoulder into Percy Control. And Percy Control sent to the penalty box, and that's going to make it a 4-on-3 back advantage for Mass Maelstrom. And they have lead jammer. And here comes Byron on his first scoring pass. Double XL High Pains Drifter and the Saint in a 3-wall at the front of the pack. High Pains Drifter trying to force Byron out of bounds, but he resists, moves to the outside, and gets through a grand slam for Mass Maelstrom. The pack frozen right on the jammer line as Byron comes around, hits the pack a second time. Colleran moving to try and break up the wall. Very effective hip check there. Double XL was moved out of position. That opened up a tiny gap, and Byron was able to get through. Another grand slam, 10 points. I think the second highest scoring jam in the game for Mass Maelstrom. I think Gaudette got 13 points in the first half.
That's right. Got it with 13 points, 10 points, the high scoring jam this half. We've got someone else chiming in on Talk to MRDA. We call the sausage the lazy train. Now, see, that makes sense to me because it looks like a train of very lazy people.
But folks at home, we're trying to come up with the sausage equivalent for men's derby.
See, because sausage with women's derby is like a flip-flop there. So
let's get creative, people.
Get creative. Use your creative brains and talk to me at Talk to MRDA.
Jurassic Park fighting his way through the pack. Gets past Nat King Kill. That was a Bled Zeppelin at the front. It's slowing him down, but a grand slam for Jurassic Park. But here comes Screech around through the pack, completing his initial pass, trying to make up ground. Jurassic Park on his second scoring pass runs into Zombie Jesus and Nat King Kill. They hold him in the pack long enough, force the call off, and he's going to settle for 2. That's a 7-point jam for Jurassic Park of Mass Maelstrom in the white.
Mass Maelstrom eking on up to 78 points. St. Louis 141. That power jam, though, drawn out over 3 jams. St. Louis held scoreless in those 3 jams due to the assistance of the Notorious RAD penalty box. What are the things that Notorious RAD can assist you with in making them smell better? Notorious RAD.
Debaucherous Prime number 11 jamming for St. Louis. That would appear to be Benar, number 80, going to the penalty box for Mass Maelstrom, a previously empty Notorious RED penalty box. Number 2, Conlon, jamming for Mass Maelstrom in the white, is now lead jammer. Debaucherous Prime coming out about a quarter lap, but Conlon actually opening up again. When he hits the pack, he's about a half a lap ahead, but tries to squeeze through an opening between the Saint and Double XL. That opening is immediately slammed shut on him, clamping down. He calls off the jam, though, in time, but he does get his hips just ahead of those 2 skaters. So he got those 2 points plus a ghost point for Inquadable Hulk in the penalty box. So 3 points for Mass Maelstrom.
That's right. Inquadable Hulk sent to the penalty box last jam. So right now, both teams down a blocker, Inquadable Hulk and Benar in the box as well. We've got an official timeout. Oh, a very fast, ladies and gentlemen, the fastest official timeout ever. Like, the whistle didn't even have to come out of Mistrial's mouth. Yes.
And still a remarkably small number of penalties. So far, only four skaters with four penalties, 2 on each team. And there's only 8 minutes left in the game. Shane Bauer, number 32, jamming for St. Louis in the black. Gets, almost squeezes by, but just steps out of bounds. Has to call off the jam. Calentro did not get in time. Shane Bauer putting 3 on the board. But there was a little bit of a scoring streak for Mass Maelstrom. They were holding St. Louis scoreless for several jams.
Ooh, Mike McClure says, how about calling it a pearl necklace?
When they're spread out like that, yeah.
Yeah, and the DJ could play Soul Asylum. It'll all work. The Soul Asylum pearl necklace song.
Okay, well,
we'll catch you up on the 90s later, Bulldog.
It's best to...
Magnum PIMP wearing the Jammer Star for the Gentleman in Black agreed. And he's joined by Byron. And in a turn of events, Magnum PIMP exiting the pack in one of the few ways that one cannot be lead jammer in a jam, and no pass, no penalty.
That means that the opportunity is there for Byron to get lead jammer, but Magnum PIMP getting a grand slam. So already 5 points ahead, and there goes Byron calling off the jam. But still 5 points to the St. Louis Gatekeepers.
5 points to the St. Louis Gatekeepers, and we've got a little less than 7 minutes left on the clock. 149-81, St. Louis on top. Oh, and I have a second vote for pearl necklace, folks. I do like that one.
I'd like to hear more ideas. That's a good one, but I'm sure there are more ideas out there as well. And I'd love to have.
Certainly, you all came up with some great conspiracy theories for me yesterday. I know you could come up with a good name for this puppy. So talk to MRDA on Twitter.
There's something, the puppy something, or the something puppy. Come on, we just need the perfect adjective.
Prime right now with lead jammer status, and he's kind of standing there. Oh, right. He was looking for the whistle. That whistle for Jurassic Park. He picks up a forearm penalty. So the Gatekeepers have a power jam.
That's right, power jam. Debaucherous Prime trying to make progress. Oh, nice work by Mars Travolta trying to stay in bounds, but Wrecking Bill came in and just nudged him out. But the damage was done. Debaucherous Prime had already recycled by that time. So he had to make another full pass to get that grand slam that was just awarded. So still in control of the clock ticking down. Just 5.5 minutes left in the game now on the period clock. Debaucherous Prime weaving his way through, gets around, no big deal. And another 5 for St. Louis.
Pack right now in a stop around turn 1. Perhaps we could call it a ponytail, as our friend Ben Cease.
And I think we have our first official spotting of a pearl necklace on the Derby track. All right, and it was just like that, it's gone. Jurassic Park out of the penalty box, so both jammers on the track. Jurassic Park gets past Nat King Kill, but Wrecking Bill, relentless at the front of the pack, finally gets knocked down. Doesn't give up until he's well past the engagement zone and gets sent to the box for his troubles. But Jurassic Park had to fight his way all the way out just to complete his initial pass. And Debaucherous Prime picking up 4 more points for the St. Louis Gatekeepers.
My favorite part about when Wrecking Bill goes to the penalty box is he usually does an on nuts before he does it. On nuts! Yeah, that's my favorite. Well, that's one of my favorite things about Wrecking Bill. He's a pretty great guy to hang out with. We spend so much time hurrying to name this. It's like naming your pet veal, because hopefully this form of play will go away shortly. At least that's my humble editorial opinion. we'll see more when I feel as cranky as Andy Rooney, and we can put a ticking clock up on the WFTDA.TV screen.
But look at this battle at the front. This gloves off battle at the front. There was a double XL and Percy Control shutting down Calentro, and that gave the opportunity for Batwing to get out and steal Lead Jammer away. Calentro was way at the front, and that just goes to show you what we've been seeing all game long. Just in that one jam, that encapsulates most of the game. Calentro gets all the way to the front, but the defense just will not let him pass, and they just hold him back, and then Batwing steals Lead Jammer away, and St. Louis comes up, goes ahead and calls off the jam.
Someone being rather too officious for their own good. David Deckelm says sausage refers to the act of making sausage, squeezing out the meat into casing, i.e. squeezing out the blockers at the front of the pack. They're not really being squeezed, though, because nobody is doing the squeezing on them, buddy.
So sausage is a verb?
Yeah, I don't know. It can't be a verb because there's nothing going on.
Don't use sausage at me.
Yeah, well, wait, I don't want to say that. We'll save that for the after party. All right, Lead Jammer being given to Conlon. He thinks he's a jam ref, and the jam ref agrees with him for once. 3 points for Conlon. He calls off the jam.
He did indeed, and the score remains at 168-88. St. Louis Gatekeepers still maintaining an 80-point lead over Mass Maelstrom. The winner, of course, will be the third-place finisher of the the MRDA Championships of 2013.
That's right, 2013. I believe we're on the 4th.
Yeah. So
please correct my math and know that announcers cannot count. Out in front with that Lead Jammer point. 2 jams in a row for Mass Maelstrom. That's Byron.
That's right. Anytime you correct announcer math, you should do it in all caps with at least 4 exclamation points.
And probably passive-aggressively post on Facebook about it, too. Conlon gets the pressure from...
It's the only way we'll learn.
Yes, it is. It's the only way we'll learn. Conlon getting the pressure from Shane Bauer. He is forced to call off the jam. Crowd again asking for Wrecking Bill to jam, and maybe we could say a little Hasselman. Oh, see, look, we could do Wrecking Bill versus Hasselman because both have the same amount of syllables, so the crowd will just sound like a big muttering syllabic mess.
Or they could do like a row your boat round robin thing.
Jurassic Park on the line up against Debaucherous Prime, and 3rd jam in a row for Mass Maelstrom, Lead Jammer, Jurassic Park.
Wrecking Hassel. Okay.
Jurassic Park breaking free, picks up 5 points, and Prime ready to score.
Less than 1 minute left in the game. Jurassic Park knocked out of bounds. He does get 4 points for his trouble. So put some points on the board, and at this point, I think Mass Maelstrom they might consider a victory if they just get into triple digits. The score started shooting up just as I was mid-sentence, and I thought it was going to go into triple digits, which would render my statement completely obsolete. But no, they've got 99 points now, just 1 point, and they get into triple digits. And the crowd, look at that, they really want Wrecking Bill to jam.
That's so funny because Wrecking Bill probably really does not want to jam.
I think that.
Oh, wait. Oh, pivot.
What?
Oh, the pivot cover is off. And downtown Dallas has handed Wrecking Bill the jammer star.
The crowd goes wild. A lot of I think there are more Wrecking Bill fans in the house than there are St. Louis Gatekeepers fans.
In all fairness, Star Spangled Hammer is handing out free T-shirts on the other side of the track. That may also be why they're going wild.
I think the crowd that's sitting right in front of us is just going wild because of Wrecking Bill.
That's correct. While we were having some fun here, Magnum PIMP captain of the Gatekeepers and coach Spectacles out there, they are in an official review, and the Zebras have huddled up. KK Skipper telling us that if we did see a Wrecking Bill and a Hasselman, Wrecking Bill versus Hasselman, which it appears we are not going to, the cheer would turn into Wrecking Man and Hasselball. I love that the crowd just gets what it wants sometimes. See, the crowd gets what it wants when they're yelling for a favorite player to jam. The crowd does not get what they want when they think they're a referee. Hardly ever.
That is a good point. Yeah, there are different. The crowd has certain powers. Overruling a referee call is not one of them.
So we are heading into our 29th jam here in the second half. I hope they have enough spots on their paperwork for that. I have done a few games where I've run out of jams on my paperwork. But yes, 29 jams, and you won't run out of enough paperwork if you get yourself a subscription to 5 on 5 magazine. 5 on 5 magazine covers not only MRDA, but also WFTDA, Junior Derby, coaching and rookie help, gear, art, and media, and also International Derby, KI, as it were.
But in the meantime, a sneak attack on the penalty board. Now, St. Louis Gatekeepers got a string of penalties. They now have 3 skaters with 4 penalties. Nat King killed Double XL and Inquadable Hulk, and 1 skater, Bled Zeppelin, has 6 penalties. So there's actually a possibility that St. Louis may that Bled's no, he's not on. No, he's not skating in this jam. So if he was, then he could potentially actually get expelled in this jam, but that's not a possibility. Not unless he leaps onto the track in the middle of the jam. But Byron gets sent to the penalty box on a back block, and that means that Wrecking Bill is on the power jam. He is fighting his way through the back. His teammates dropping back into a
pearl necklace,
the pearl
my friends.
necklace. Thank you, Ms. C. And now fighting his way forward, gets knocked to the inside. And Hasselman versus
Whoa,
Wrecking
oh my
Bill.
goodness. Did he just goose?
That's entirely possible. And he steps through the outside back ref, calling a cut on Wrecking Bill. The crowd does not like it, but he's got a big smile on his face.
Bill is like, thank you, sweet zombie Jesus. I could go sit down in the penalty box now.
Well, now he can afford to take his time right now because this is the final jam. The period clock has expired, and he doesn't even really need to sit down or not in any kind of a hurry. Now he's going to ease into that chair, and that releases Byron.
That's right. We're going to go the remaining 1 minute. But the thing that I love the most about this jam, Bulldog, is that it's fun because roller derby is fun. Never forget that, folks, lest we should forget. Roller derby is fun. Conlon still on his initial pass through the pack, has to fight against Magnum PIMP around turn 2, has to let him go. Of course, not lead jammer because of that little visit to the notorious RAD penalty box.
He went to the penalty box, and now on his first scoring pass comes to a screeching halt. Looks like Double XL was knocked out of bounds, but is simply refusing to re-enter. Now, I think that is because he would be immediately stuck in a goat pen. But interesting choice. I don't think that it really had a huge effect. But he was kind of moving into spectator mode. But the time runs out on the jam, and some love being shared by these two teams. They have a lot of respect for each other, a lot of history between each other. Well, and a lot of happy faces out there on the track.
Well, sometimes you just got to hug it out at the end of the game. And also, what I noticed, especially in that last jam, but the last few jams, both teams having fun. Because remember, roller derby is fun. It's not about splitting all those hairs and being really silly and having arguments where you never want to talk to someone again because they believe one rule is one way or the other, because roller derby
Isn't that the fun you were talking about?
Only
That's not
you,
fun?
only
Come on.
you would get joy out of pissing people off.
I get joy out of the other
Gatekeepers.
stuff too, but
Gatekeepers roller derby right now, winning 3rd place, sliding back one place from the original seating.
I appreciate the full spectrum of roller derby. I draw joy from all aspects.
You Pacific Northwesters and your open-mindedness. Didn't you know I'm from part of the country that's making its own state soon if they get the approval? Anyway, Maelstrom, though, the real story here, bumping up a seed coming into this tournament, and well earned actually by Maelstrom. We've seen them shoot out of the gates this weekend and really earn their place here at the 3rd place game. We will have a medals presentation directly following the championship game, which starts at 5 p.m. Central. I'll do the math for you. Ready? 6 p.m. if you live on the East Coast, 4 p.m. if you live in the Western time zone, and 3 p.m. for our championship game. If you are my Drive-By City Rollers or anyone else on the West Coast watching us here, MRDA championship coverage on WFTDA TV, it has been a pleasure, Bulldog.
Point of order, you said 6 p.m. on the East Coast and 4 p.m. on the West Coast?
6 p.m. and 3 p.m. on the West Coast.
3 p.m. on the West Coast, yes.
6 o'clock, East Coast. 5 o'clock, Central. 4 o'clock, Colorado time, Western. Okay?
Mountain.
Yes, Mountain. And 3 o'clock if you are on the West Coast, Pacific, yes.
Okay, no, I misunderstood you.
Yeah, well,
thank you very much for clarifying that. There's probably
my name.
That's right. All right. Well, it was a pleasure calling this game with you, Ms. Communication. That was a really exciting game. Point differential be damned. We love seeing games like that, and it was an absolute pleasure calling with you.
Yes, and it was a great time calling with you too, Bulldog. Once again, I'm Ms. Communication. Congratulations to the St. Louis Gatekeepers, and congratulations in advance to Rockety, a referee, who will be reffing her 150th bout for the championship game here this evening. Make sure to tune in, again, 5 p.m. Central, right here on WFTDA.tv.
And I think we all learned something today.
Yes.
All right,
yes,
thank
we
you very
did.
much. Thank you very much for watching, folks. Next up is the 1st place game.
Hi, I'm Trish the Dish, and this is Ivana Spankin, and we're here to tell you about Sin City Skates. Sin City Skates began in our Las Vegas living room in 2005, the first shop ever dedicated to roller derby, and has since grown into this 2,000 square foot mecca in San Diego, where we stock everything for our sport. Need help? With a combined on-track experience of over 24 years and still playing, we test everything we sell, and we're happy to share that experience and knowledge with you. So contact us, sincityskates.com.
They told us to just sell skates online. You won't have any overhead. Put some skulls in your advertising. You'll make a mint. That was never our plan. Our plan was to make a store where all day we are fitting skaters, fixing skates, teaching customers, and putting the best gear on their bodies. Before we put 3 W's in front of our name, we made sure we had hundreds of happy customers come through our doors. We're not just Derby owned. We're Derby dedicated. Fast Girl Skates.
My name is the Doc, and this is the Texas Roll-'em.
That goes to you. We're here in the helmet laboratories today testing some helmets. We're testing soft foam helmets versus hard foam helmets. We have the Lifer hard foam CPSC certified on the head form now. We're going to drop it from the drop tower, and we're going to measure the G-force of the impact. We're going to take this helmet up 2 meters for its drop. In order to pass this test, this helmet must reduce the energy pulse to under 300 Gs. We hit 186.75 Gs. That's a pass. We've got a soft foam helmet on the head form now. We're going to bring it up to the same distance we did the hard foam helmet and see what happens. As you can see, the soft foam helmet that was dropped from the same distance as the hard foam helmet registered an 827 peak G. The hard foam helmet registered a 186. 300 Gs passes the CPSC certified test. This helmet fails.